the first 1000 Days podcast, the business startup journey with Ivan Sutton.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me again. I'm Ivan Sutton, and this is the first 1000-day podcast. And today, I'm really happy to have Neil Silvert with us. Neil is the host of Your Gray Matters podcast. That's built on the belief that the human mind cannot be defeated. That's positive. The show explores disruptive technology, politics, and inspiring stories from remarkable people. And I'm hoping one day I'll be one of those remarkable people. Neil, just a shameful plug. He's a licensed mortgage agent. He's also the president of Your Gray Matters health device, which I've seen a demonstration of. Very exciting. That's a non-pharma health and wellness company. He's also a formal political advisor. Sounds like a guy I could sit down and have a beer with. And professionally trained fundraiser. Neil is happily married to Linda, a lovely, lovely woman, and is the proud father of 4 children and a grandfather. Does he look like a grandfather? He is the grandfather to 4 grandchildren. So Neil, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for accepting my invite to be on the show today.
Thank you, Ivan. I am greatly honored to be on the show. Hello, everybody. You have tuned in today to a wonderful, wonderful teacher himself in Ivan Sutton, and certainly hang on to Ivan. He is quite terrific.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're trying to get back on the show in the future. I get it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so listen. I really like to delve into the struggles and the solutions that people have in their business, especially when they were starting. Like when you first started, if you can remember the challenges, because there are always challenges, right? So if you can remember the challenges that you had when you first started your business, I want you to think on that and just think about the person that would be listening to this that may be going through challenges right now, Neil, that they're struggling, and know that the words that you're saying might be of definite encouragement. They might go, oh man, I'm going through that right now. Anyway, so here we go. The first question that I have for you is, what originally pushed you to start your business? And what problem were you intending to solve?
All right. Well, thank you, Ivan. And hi again, everybody. Well, my story actually and how I got into business probably isn't the normal story of getting into business. Pardon me. And I'm going to take you back a little bit to, believe it or not, the late 1980s. The late 1980s, and I was in my 30s. I'm going to be 72 in March. And I will tell you, everybody, that I did not grow up in a family of entrepreneurs. I knew nothing about it. The idea of not having that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks or every week was the only thing that I understood, the only thing that I knew. And I was working in the big city of Winnipeg. I was a professional fundraiser, well paid, beautiful community as it is to this day. And my volunteer chairman was one of the most important and influential business owners in this country. And that was the late Izzy Asper, who started things like Global TV. And Izzy was not my boss professionally, but my volunteer boss, and my job was to make him happy as we raised money together in our community. And to make a long story short, I've never told this publicly. Izzy one night got very upset with me, wanted me to carry out something I couldn't, and the man actually sat me down very angry and said to me, Neil, you are a horrible, horrible employee. And here's the reason why: because you're a natural entrepreneur. You are not supposed to be reporting to other people. You're supposed to be leading people. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I could tell you that I had any concept of what he was trying to tell me. But a spark was born. And it took all the way from 1988, when that happened, to 1995 to start my first business. And that took guts. And at the time, I was so immature in owning a business or even the concept of it, but I was starting to learn that that's how we get our dreams fulfilled. to be able to create something that can outlast us.
Wow. What a beautiful thing for somebody to say to you. I mean, even if you weren't thinking along those lines, it would be a spark that, like you said, a spark went off that would make it, wow, what are you saying to me? This is beautiful. So, but when you when looking back on that on your first year when you actually started your business, what assumptions did you make that turned out to be wrong?
Okay, so first of all, our first foray, our being Linda's and mine, and it was gutsy because we were a new couple. And so we were going through the sun and the fun of getting to know each other and raise each other's kids and our kids. So it took a decision, everybody. So the first thing was a decision to make something work. Well, in those days, I had no idea what the decision encompassed. We just decided that we would get something going. So my assumption was not to work that hard and to have massive wealth in the first year. I didn't understand at that time that when you own a company, especially in the multi-level structure that I was in, and I own other companies that are not MLM, but for my money, it's the very best way to learn how to own a business, by the way, is that you were going to work hard and not get paid very much. So you had to keep your job. Listen to my words. If there's a way to have an income while you're quietly building a business, that's never a bad thing. You have to pay your bills. Then you find out that after time, your work that you put into the business and the income that you start to earn starts to equalize. And then at some point in the future, you will make more money than you deserve from the amount of work that you're doing. And that's essentially what happened to us. And so that was it. You have to make a decision to go through what it takes. You must be a student of great leaders. I'm not a very good reader, but I learned to read. And over time now, of course, we can watch training videos. You had to know who your leader is. Who are you following? Much more importantly, who are they following? What are they doing? So the biggest thing was making a decision of success and then going through the sun and the fun of building a business.
Okay, so was there a hardest, like, was there a crisis moment ever? It sounded like you were properly set up for this, and you had buy-in from your partner, of course, Linda, and then you also had the security of cash flow, right? So was
Well,
there?
eventually we did. That
Okay,
was part
okay.
of the decision. No, but everybody should know. That's why I say try to keep income. And if you're building a business, if it's possible to keep whatever income you can coming in, because new businesses are not fast generators of income all the time. And I will say this, Ivan, that was in fact what I had to become aware of was that the 8 hour day, the 9 hour day isn't what you're doing if you're building a business while you're keeping a job. From 8 till 5, you're building your livelihood, but from 5 till midnight, you're building your life. And that is something that we had to learn how to do while raising younger children and learning just how to be business people. So, yes, Ivan, that is the key decision that we had to make, learn, and live.
So would that be the challenge? I have to hear what challenge hit you that you were completely unprepared for. What would that
Okay.
be?
My lack of knowledge of building a business. I didn't know. Luckily, I entered into a system that has a mentoring system and I was well taught. But you have to be a student of everything, learn as quickly as you can, and be absolutely prepared to live with the positives that happen and to see what you will think is a negative if you lose money or you're tired or you don't know what the heck to do next. You have to see that as a joyful positive too. It's part of the process. So my answer to your question is learning how to love the process and never giving up.
Okay, wow, that's a really good point. And it makes me think of you're not an island. unto yourself, right? So what is the ecosystem that you have around you that helps to sustain you and sustain that motivation and positive outlook on the future, no matter what comes by? What is it?
Well, it takes, well, first of all, you have to create a community of people, like-minded people, where you all don't have to believe everything in the same way, but success principles, yes. Being mentored, like I said, by people who you know where they're going and what their thoughts are, and do they align with you? As I said, I have a reading disability. I had to get over that to learn to read. Luckily, Linda is a great reader and helped me to learn. It's probably why I started going towards being on camera, because I started in these modern times, and I'm still a student, by the way, it never stops, to find the information and the mentors that could help me to move forward. It also took great guts, if you will, to realize that you're exhausted, you're raising kids, but you have that dream. And no matter what, you're going to get that dream fulfilled. But I
Wow.
didn't know that any of that was happening, to answer your question. That was the learned process.
Okay, so looking back now, from where you are now, looking back, what changed the most about you
Uh,
in those like what do you not just in business, like personally, what changed?
a building of self-confidence. I was that sort of smart-assy kid. And in fact, I was winning and doing things that I shouldn't have been accomplishing, but I had no idea. And I sat down many years ago with one of Canada's most marvelous public speakers and trainers. And there's a hint in there, folks. Trainers are a good thing to have if they're the right people. But the great Randy Taylor. And I took him to lunch after hearing him speak. So, next thing, I had the guts to ask this guy to lunch. I never met him before. We went for lunch. We were very thankful. And he asked me to tell his story. So, folks, don't be afraid to tell your story, because in there is something for somebody else. And Randy, and here's the answer to your question, Randy actually got me to understand that my story, whatever it is important, and that it's okay to believe in myself and for others to believe in themselves. That's a nice statement. That took years. But having a mentor to actually tell you that you have greatness, that was key. It started to change my thinking, as did the late Izzy Asper.
Amazing. So now, where you are now, and I've seen just the way that you interact with people at the this great city events when you come out to those and at the trade show that we did. Um, when I've noticed that you are very personable, very interactive, like you're always smiling, etc. So thinking about the next, let's say, year and a half, right? Are you projecting forward? What are you looking at for your business?
Well, in our particular business, and I own three of them, oddly enough, and perhaps just take one, folks, and focus on it. But we see really big growth. Yeah, our health and wellness device, which is complete new technology, disruptive technology. Disruptive simply means it changes the way that we live, like the wheel did. For those of us who are my age, well, I'm still amazed that I have a telephone that I can go anywhere with me that isn't attached to the wall by a cord like when I grew up. So disruptive technologies, which is what I love, that I know that by bringing this out to people, you can build success. But you're right, it takes time. So a year and a half from now, we'll be much bigger in our business. We're international now from our little house here where we live. So it's the idea of never giving up. So you have to learn to pivot quickly. For example, folks, I'm a mortgage agent, cheap plug, but I am a mortgage agent. That came about because I wanted to learn how to invest in real estate, by the way, 15 years ago. So that's where that came from. But people aren't buying a lot of new houses now, so you pivot. What kind of product helps people now? So we've pivoted to other things. And the podcast was simply something that I want to do with my son. It's joyful and it helps people. So, simple answer, we expect massive growth because we're in the business of supplying stuff to people that is needed. And that's what we do.
Brilliant. And are there any political things? And I know we're not going to go down the rabbit hole because it's so easy right now. So many things going on, but there are challenges to small business entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that even just psychological. But is there something that stands out to you that you say, I am going to keep an eye on this, and I need to figure out how to maneuver through this if things get more extreme in this area, or um, less consumer confidence in the market, and therefore people are holding back. What stands out to you?
So, first of all, I think that it's very important to be aware of many things. Now, I I never was politically interested. I've taken a stand that forces me to become involved in politics for my business, but for my personal life, doesn't matter right now. But being aware of what's going on from the tax point of view, our friends at CRA, from your rights and privileges as Canadians, which is under tremendous attack right now, um, the business environment and atmosphere that we have, but that we actually don't see as much of now with the horrible scourge of government caused inflation. And the biggest thing, folks, is to be knowledgeable. Stop watching the news. Stop reading newspapers. They are paid for by the government. Listen to my words. By what right does a government in a democracy give money to independent news outlets such as CTV? Why would we do that? So you have to dig deeper. So it's good to be a part of business groups. It's good to get to know your local government leaders, but get yourself positioned to understand tax laws, how to have a mentor to build your business. These are all answers to your questions. You must be aware, and you must not just take the word of the stuff that you're reading in the papers and watching on TV. Oh, I lost your sound, Ivan.
Yeah, that was me. Yes, that mute button. Your Great Matters podcast. What types of topics do you tackle on that?
Sure, thanks very much. Well, first of all, I could not possibly talk about the Your Gray Matters podcast without my son, and this is part of the fun, folks. Jason, my son Jason, who lives 3 provinces away from me, he lives in Alberta. And so he's our producer, director. And as he puts it, Dad, you just talk. I'm the one who makes you sound good. And then my own Linda, who is a partner in our podcast and is forever giving me good feedback, thoughts, and her own genius. And we look at things that change the world. I believe, and this is the basis of the Your Gray Matters podcast, this thing here, the human mind cannot be defeated. In my opinion, we will always find a way. It may not be in our lifetime. It may not be something that we can even imagine, like the phone 100 years ago or 150 years ago, but we will always find the way. And that's why I'm so excited, for example, in this new technology, disruptive technology, this non-pharma, non-ingredients health and wellness device. It changes the whole paradigm. That's our podcast. We bring in some of Canada's best speakers. We've gone a little bit political lately because of my deep concerns about the direction of this country. But we have great people from the entertainment business who've been on our show. In fact, Linda and I will be in Las Vegas shortly, and we will be meeting with people who grew up in, one guy who grew up in Kitchener, Ontario, and his wife from Tennessee, that have had a professional entertainment show in New York and Las Vegas for 30 years.
Amazing.
So you're looking at your neighbor, and someday they may be a center of influence and greatness themselves, as you will be. That's our podcast, looking for great folks. That's why, yes, you will be on.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. I look forward to that. I've got audience that heard you say that. So last question I have, last podcasty question is
Sure.
what skills, right? Um, uh, sorry, what skills or habits are non-negotiable for people that are just starting out or thinking about starting out in setting up a business that they must have, in your opinion?
The business or a podcast? I just want to be
Starting a
clear.
small business. So someone
Okay.
out there is an entrepreneur, they want to start a business. What are the non-negotiable skills that they must have?
Okay. Well, the very first thing, and a lot of people will question this, is your own dream, why you're doing this, and how much you are committed to your own dream. Because everything that we create in this world comes from our imagination. And our imagination is unlimited. So the first thing is to have an unlimited imagination. And then to understand things such as what's your product? How does it fit in the market? Are you convinced? Why are you convinced? What research have you done? It's a lot easier to stop a business before you start than to stop a business while you're in it. And I'm not suggesting anybody should stop their dreams. As I said earlier, do you have mentors? Do you have people understand how to build a business? As you put it, you don't have to be an island, Ivan. I love the idea of speaking with other people. To learn? I make my decisions with Linda, but
Hmm.
am I
Yeah.
learning from the greatness? Do you have a deaf ear? Are you prepared to flush the nonsense that will come towards you, often by well-meaning people will tell you, don't do that. Keep your job. Your life can be great. If you have that joyful personality that is screaming at you to do something more, do it. But understand your product, where it fits in, understand all the numbers. Do you have an accountant? Do you have an advisor that can help you understand numbers, whether they're good or bad, whether they point to the business or not, or are you just going to go by emotion? Emotion's a great thing. I don't use much of it when I'm determining whether something is worth doing or not. You have 24 hours a day. You probably, quite possibly, are working from 8 to 5, paying the bills, but from 5 to midnight, 7 days a week if you choose, what are you doing? And one last thing that we had to deal with, Ivan, is your dream big enough that sometimes you won't be at home with the kids when you're desperate to be home with the kids because you're
Mm.
building something
Wow.
for
Yeah.
them. So be sure, get a mentor and be willing to hear. But the one thing is never give up on your dream if someone else is telling you that you shouldn't have that dream. It's your dream.
Yeah.
Flush the
Brilliant.
crap.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so the last part of this is our rapid fire questions. Now, this is just for fun, just to
Okay.
get a sense of what you like and what you don't like. So, so this is where I ask you 10 questions, and you just give me
Okay.
an answer. First that comes to the top of your head, we're just gonna bang, 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 right? So
Wow.
here we go. The
Okay.
rapid fire. Yeah, I need to get one of those animations that goes rapid fire. Anyway, so here we go. Okay, so you want to have an excellent steak or vegan dinner. Where do you go?
Oh,
In your town. In your town.
oh, Shakespeare's
Shakespeare's. Okay. You've
for
got one.
steak.
Shakespeare's for steak. Okay. All right. I'll have to make a note of that one. You've got 1 free hour to yourself in your city. Where do you go and what are you doing?
I'm staying home with my bride.
Lovely. Wow, that's great. The best coffee spot to think, work, or people watch, where is your go-to?
Well, that's really interesting, actually. I have a local Williams that I love going to, but actually, sometimes I go to the mall, grab a coffee, and just watch people.
Me too. I love going to the mall and just watching people. It's right there in the center, right? I love that.
Well, not
Okay,
only that, that's how I meet people, which is part of what I do, because I find most people don't walk through my living room.
that's true. Me too. Okay, out of town friends are visiting and you want to impress them. Where do you take them first?
Where do I take them first? Oh boy. You're thinking of a location, and I'm thinking about demonstrating the product that I have. So,
Yeah, you're a business person.
you know what? I don't know where I would take them, especially in this weather. Oddly enough, though, when the weather's a bit better, we love to go to places like Elora Gorge
Mm.
up north. Beautiful Niagara Falls. We've brought people to Niagara Falls. They're from the Middle East. They've never seen water like what we have. It'll blow their minds. So in our local area, there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful places to take people and certainly patronize the merchants.
All right, when you need to clear your head after a long work day, where in your city helps you reset?
Where would I reset? That's interesting. Boy, I live a shallow life. I'm starting to realize from these questions. It's very funny because when I want to reset, I'm actually out of the public eye and I'm meditating.
Oh,
But
okay.
if we want to have fun, we love going to the movies.
All right, all right. A hidden gem alert. What's one local place more people should know about?
Isn't that just interesting? I'm not a reader. No, this is interesting. I just learned this myself. The hidden gem that I'm going to start going to, believe it or not, is an old idea. I'm going to start going to my public library. There's so
Okay.
much going on, not only with reading, there's presentations, there's speakers, there's a quietness. So uh, it's very interesting, but I'm going to start going back to my library.
Yeah, great. And the libraries are so cool these days. Okay, you're celebrating a small win. Where do you go to treat yourself?
Oh Lord, isn't that terrific? Well, I gotta tell you, I love hamburgers. I'm not really the big steak guy, and I'll give them a plug. I still think Harvey's is the best burger around. So I'm diabetic. I really do watch my health. I don't often have unnecessary carbs, but boy, when I want to have an exciting explosion, I
Yeah,
go for a Harvey's hamburger.
brilliant. Okay, all right, okay. Just three more Saturday morning vibes. Where would you likely find yourself in your city on a Saturday morning besides home?
Yes. You know what? Quite often, Linda and I, if the weather's good, we're out for a long walk. We're seniors. 5 to 10 kilometer walks are nothing for us. We're working on our health. Again, it allows us to walk down a path. When you out walking, you actually get to say hello to people. There's
Yeah.
there's there's a visiting of community when one is just out walking or I imagine biking. So that is where in the winter, quite often we're in a sheltered area, let's say like our local big mall. We're walking the mall and we're saying hi to people.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and you know what's funny is that you're not the weird one because everybody says hi to people when they're out walking, right? Which is
Yes.
nice, right? Makes you feel good. Okay, you and your family are heading out to a park to relax, walk, have fun. Which park do you go to?
Well, we have a beautiful park in Dundas called Dundas Driving Park. And we love to have the grandkids run wild and we run wild with them. And it's a beautifully kept park. And I have to say, when I was growing up in Waterloo and money was not a strong thing that we had Waterloo Park and we were there a lot. You could swim. We wouldn't have it now, but in those days, a bit of a very protected zoo. You could run around and be a kid and not have fear. Now, of course, parents must be very close to their kids, but I love the parks. I also like watching my grandkids play sports. That one's good too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, last question. If it was someone who was dear to you, said, "Hey, listen, Neil, I'm moving to your city, and tomorrow I'm moving there. What's the one place that you'll tell them they have to go and experience?"
In Hamilton, Ontario. Well, believe it or not, I love taking people up on the mountain, what we call the mountain, to overlook and see a beautiful view of our great, great Hamilton. Hamilton doesn't get the most colorful remarks about who we are, but we have a magnificent aged city with beautiful architecture, great people. We have like the West End and the East End two different types of a city. Then you drive around the escarpment and you're looking over Dundas, where
Hmm.
that park is. So I take them to where they can see this magnificent city and understand the history and the greatness of Hamilton, Ontario.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really appreciate the lower downtown as well as you get towards the Pier 8.
Oh, wonderful
Beautiful
people. I
area.
love it.
For
Yep.
sure. Well, listen, thank you very much. I really appreciate the good conversation. Thank you, Neil Silvert, for joining me today. And of course, Neil Silvert, of course, the host of Your Great Matters podcast. And 5 minutes of other intros to tell you about what he does. But definitely check out Neil's information that will be placed here in the comments below on how to reach him. Because if you have any questions about him, his podcast, or his businesses, definitely reach out to Neil. Thank you again, Neil.
Thanks very much. Goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.